Good afternoon again. My name is Rob Worley. I'm a business analyst at the Office of Security Operations at Ginnie Mae. The team would like to welcome you to this training addressing Ginnie Net HMBS pool delivery and certifications migration within the My Ginnie Mae portal. Bailey will be assisting us today on the technical side of Zoom. If you have any questions, please direct to her. Please feel free to log your questions in the Q&A box as we'll be walking through the training. Questions will be taken at the end of the session at the appropriate moment. We ask that you please do not post to the chat as the team does not monitor during the presentation and chat content is not accessible following the call. Should follow up with individuals be necessary. Today's training will be presented by Wayne Gale and Tauhid Ali. I will now turn it over to them.
Thank you, Rob. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Wade Gale, BNY, one of those oldster at BNY. I hope everybody's doing well on this Wednesday. I'm great. Guess what? I'm good. My New York Knicks won last night, so one more game to the second round of the NBA Finals. Not NBA Finals, of course, but NBA playoff. And does anybody care? I just thought I'll put it out there. So hope you're having a good Wednesday, and welcome to our session. Of course, most of you are all GenNet heads. We've been working with GenNet for a while. Well, eventually, per Ginnie Mae, GenNet is going to go into the sunset, so we need to change the way you actually work with in the space with HMBS. So that's what we are here to discuss. Just a couple HMBS notification for you so we can get started. We're going to go through a couple slides here, and then we're going to go through a couple of the slides that you will see as part of the HMBS process. And then we have some recording to just kind of to make it understand, so you'll understand a little bit better the process. So let's start with coming mid to late second quarter. GenNet will no longer be used for the initial or final certification at Ginnie Mae HMBS pool. So the transition is starting. As of that date, Ginnie Mae HMBS issuers will begin processing HMBS pools through a new HMBS model available in My Ginnie Mae portal. So that's where everything right in our space right now. We access GenNet through the portal. Now GenNet will be there for other reasons, but now we're going to access the HMBS module through MGM now to actually do our processing. In addition, custodians supporting HMBS pools will begin using the new pools and loan certification functionality in My Ginnie Mae portal to complete HMBS pool certification. So that's new now. Now, custodians, you used to do your pool processing in GenNet. Everything is done in GenNet for you. Now, for HMBS piece, if you process and certify and do final certification for HMBS, you're going to do those now in the new system on MGM. So that's going to be a big change for you, but you'll still go ahead and do your other certification in GenNet. And for the certification of all other pool types, custodians will continue to use in GenNet until further notice. So HMBS, the new module on My Ginnie Mae. If you still do your single family pools, your multifamily pools, you're going to still do that in the GenNet space. Please note that cutoff dates for GenNet HMBS system is Wednesday prior to the deployment. At that time, HMBS in GenNet will transition to a read-only mode. HMBS issuers and custodians will be unable to create or certify pool until process resumes in MGM. So you want to be mindful of that too. If you currently have HMBS pools make sure you kind of finish them, or maybe since we're going to be starting a new year, a new month, I know a lot of people tend to do the HMBS pool later, so this might not affect you, but just in case you have any pools out there that you're going to issue before the deployment or after the deployment, make sure that's done so you won't get caught up in that space. So you will have to end up starting that pool again in the the new processing space. So those are things that everybody has to look forward to, and I hope it's an exciting time for everyone and you're looking for the change. Next slide, please. Okay, let's just check on some of the benefits in processing HMBS now in the My Ginnie Mae space. This presentation will explain the benefit at processing HMBS pool in My Ginnie Mae instead of relying on a legacy system like GennyNet. If it positions My Ginnie Mae as a modern centralized platform that improves workflow efficiency, user experience, security, and long-term operational alignment with Ginnie Mae's modernization strat. So it kind of makes sense because right now in our world, a couple years ago, Ginnie Mae introduced My Ginnie Mae, and you notice all our processing started on the My Ginnie Mae. We even moved GennyNet into that space, although we were still going into the legacy application to do our processing. But now Ginnie Mae wants to make sure all of their processes is on a one head in that big house they call My Ginnie Mae. So that's where the new piece is going. And once we try and put off GennyNet to the sun in the sunset. So some of the benefits: centralized processing and workflow efficiency. My Ginnie Mae provides a single access point for HMBS related activity, reducing reliance on and fragmented legacy processing and minimizing manual hands-off. This helps standardize steps, streamline certification, and reduce context switching for issuers. If you're a GennyNet expert, you know how the GennyNet pages are set up. You have the pool detail, the mortgage detail, the subscriber, you have the 11707, 11708, and then you have another section called communications. So every time you finish your pool details screen 11705, you have to get out of that and go into the mortgage detail. So that's part of the thing we're trying to change. So when you're processing, you can process most of these pieces function from one page instead of going in and out, in and out. So we're kind of making the user experience a little bit more exciting and little bit more forward in terms of processing. So you'll see that as part of the demo that we show. We have the improved user experience, as I was talking. The platform offers a modern, intuitive portal with single sign-on, centralized communication, and personalized navigation. These features can reduce training effort and improve adoption compared to older systems. Of course, everybody knows that single sign-on, and again, back in the days, I make reference to that time, we used to have a single sign-on for every application. Now, because we have MGM, we only sign on once, and then we go to that appropriate application that we will need to process our work. So that's what we're incorporated in this again. That's why the HMBS module now is going to be part there, and we'll just go from there and do our processing. Stronger controls and security. My Ginnie Mae enhance governance through role-based access, multi-factor authenticator, and better visibility into user access and administrative activity, helping reduce risks tied to legacy access management. Of course, that's changed, and this is where our admin comes in. The admin know you're going to have responsibility, which you currently have, and you will give the appropriate roles. So if I'm going to do HMBS and I'm an authorized signer. And that's all I'm going to do. Now, you as an admin, when that person is logged in, just give them those roles and appropriate roles so they can process their work. You don't need to get, if they're not going to do investor reporting, don't give those investor reporting roles. Just give them the roles that's going to be appropriate to their responsibility. So that's one of the things you as users and an administrator can organize in your shop. And of course, multi-factor authenticated. You cannot log in the system until you go through that OTP. You have to get that digit before you actually can get into the system. So that's part of Ginnie Mae security to make sure everything is legit. And you said if you're Wade Gale, you're signing in as Wade Gale. And of course, everybody now signs in. The sign in is now a part, is your email address is your sign. And so that's another thing to make everything uniform as part of the process. And now the strategic man, modernization value. The platform aligns issuer with Ginnie Mae's long-term modernization roadmap, decreasing dependencies on an aging infrastructure and supporting future automation, resilience, and scalability. Of course, that's part of life, right? There are changes. And this is just one that's happening now in our work life. And we just have to make sure we know how it works and we get comfortable with using the system so our work life can be not too chaotic. We know work life sometimes can get, especially when we meet to deadline. And of course, we're introducing a new system, so people bring in that's always that piece of panic or stress. But we're trying to alleviate that today by giving you what the system looks like. And I hope from then, with the user material tool, that you'll find it very easy to actually move from the old legacy GennyNet to HMBS in my Ginnie Mae. And I'm going to tell you a secret. I'm going to miss GennyNet. I've been involved with GenNet for quite some time, but the relationship have to end, right? So let us end it on a good note and move on. Next slide, please. Okay, just to give you a part of what we hope to go through, especially some of the slides that are coming up. It's just to show you how to your login credential and OTP. Of course, that's something you're used to in the My Ginnie Mae space. We still incorporate it as part of this process. Again, navigate to HMBS pools and loans. We're going to show you how you can actually do an import and validate. We might also touch on pool submission, generate in the HUD forms report, and also logging out securely. So those are just some of the things we want to introduce you to as a new user to HMBS in My Ginnie Mae space. Next slide, please. Okay, not too long ago, I just mentioned about roles. And this just want to tell you some of the people, if you're using HMBS, what functional roles you're going to need. In your currently hold one or more of the roles listed, it will allow you to access HMBS in the new location. No action is required. So isn't that cool? So you might not org admins, you might not need to go in and make any changes because that's going to be done for you on the back end. Ray. That's the good news because nobody wants to always go and make updates. If you do not have one of the required roles, contact your org admin immediately to request the appropriate HECM or DC version of your role. You see, right away, if you're a new person coming on and they said, Johnny, your role starting whenever this goes in will be HMBS. So that means the admin will have to go in and make sure they give you those roles. And then in that system, it's set up in a certain way because if you're an authorized signer, or you could be a basic user. So let's kind of explore that. HECM loan delivery and pooling basic user. That means you don't sign off on anything. You don't use the RSA token. So the functional role description would be you upload and enter pool loans and participation data. You verify available commitment authority and you clear document if there are any issues. And basic users cannot finalize transmission or submission. So those are some of your roles. I usually call that person the worker bee. You're the one that go and you set up the pools, you make sure everything is good, and then you'll have to send off that pool to your authorized signer because they're on the company's 11702, the authorized signer document, and also they're the ones who have access to the RSA token. So they will do the submission there. And then you have the HECM, loan delivery, and pooling authorized signer. And whenever I do this training, I always ask the users if you are an authorized signer, and this is more for the admin. If you're an authorized signer or you're giving Waygale authorized signer functional roles, don't give him the basic also. You're just crowding up that person's system and profile because if you're an authorized signer, you do not need the basic functional role. Just want to put that out there again. And the same thing, vice versa. If you're a basic user and that's all you're going to do, you're not going to submit. So you do not need the authorized signer. So just want to put that out there to the authorized signers the org admins, if you have to set up a new user. And of course, hi, custodians. I forget to welcome you. We do have a couple of custodians in the audience too. I just want to welcome you. We haven't done a session like this, a joint session in a long time. So, document custodian, we haven't forgotten you too. You have the DC certification basic user and also the authorized signer. So, the same thing if you're an authorized signer, you can actually reject or certify data on as a custodian and an authorized person and a basic user, you can actually view information, make sure everything is looking good, but you cannot do the certification by using your RSA token. So we want to make sure this screen to me is mostly not for the end user, but mostly for the current operation ad, no, we're operation admin. The current admin in your shop who handles user access. This is for you. If we're changing, if the people are there, they're good. But if you're adding anyone, make sure you're giving them the appropriate roles so they can actually do their function. Next slide, please. And of course, these are some screens that you're familiar with that we just want to make sure we put this up there because you might be the first time user to MGM because they are giving you HMBS function as part of your new process coming up next week or whenever the system is available. So we're just going to give you an idea what it looks like. This is a screen that you'll go in and put your user ID and your password. And of course, there's a section there that you have to put in your OTP as part of the validation before you can move on to the next screen. Next slide, please. And again, this is just what the dashboard will look like. You're going to see this again in our recording, but we just want to give it to you in screenshots. So you can actually use this as your reference if you're not even looking at the video again. So the dashboard, and when you log in, you'll see stuff like that. And you'll see at the bottom, excuse me, you'll see these little circles down here that we call Skittles. Anytime you hear Skittles, just think of those little candies that you can eat. It always comes to my mind that way. So, and the Skittles, of course, have information on them. So it kind of give you statuses of your pool. But you'll hear more about that in the recording. I don't want to overshadow the recording that Toyd and his team did. Next slide, please. This looks totally different from what Ginnie Mae looks like. And yes, it's gonna look different. environment is going to look different, but we're hoping to for users with the user's experience that you achieve the same thing. You're able to import and submit a pool. It's going to look different how to get there, but if as part of the modernization, it did make sense. So this is a HMBS pools and loans screen, and we'll hear more about that in the recording. Next slide. This is import, HMBS. I don't know what the size of the pools are now, but I remember back in the days when HMBS pools came in, there were like 10,000 loans one time. One issuer used to import on those pools. Maybe they're not that big anymore, but no one was sitting down doing manual pools. That means you have to sit there and manually enter the loans. So we give you the option now. You can either still import the pools, or you can actually, you have a small pool, your volume is small, you have the ability to actually do the manual entry. And that's why we have that import file. The import file did not change. It's basically the same flat file that you should have and import into this new system. So still have these two options, the import or to do manual pools. Next slide, please. Full import again and validation. Of course, when you do the import, the system might ask you, do you want to check the business rules at the same time? Business rules is what we usually call Ginnie Mae edits in the GenNet system. So you have that option to do some of those check off those. So once the pool is coming in, all those business rules or Ginnie Mae edits are being checked up front. So this is what this screen is actually illustrating. Next slide. And input pools and validate. This just kind of give you that information to what this when you do the full import, what it looks like, and also on the side there, it tells you the forms that are available to be you can print. We have that thing in GenNet, you go to generate forms. Well, we kind of make it so much easier in the HMBS space for you to generate the form. Sometimes when you go in and you add the pool number, you have to go and wait until it changes before the report is generated. This generates it right away. You can print it on this page. You don't have to go in and out. So that's part of the things we try to make this as intuitive as possible. So we have hard work lives. We come to work. We want to, I always say, we want to work smarter, sometimes not harder. So if we have our tools lined up in that way, I think we'll find that our day goes faster. Getting the work done is not that stressful. And at the end of the day, we'll leave feeling happy. Oh, I did a great job. My pools got through. I got to learn the HMBS new system. It wasn't that bad. I feel good. I can go home and cook now. That's another thing we'll say. But this screen is just showing you what the information is going to look like when it's imported, and also you have the ability to print from that screen, and you'll see some of that during the demo. Next slide. Again, this is when the pool has passed the business rule and it's ready for the RSA token. The system still uses the RSA token. But one of the good things, we don't have that section that says communications anymore. We don't have to go under communication and choose. So there's a different setup. And actually, once the pool passed the edit, and we'll show that to you. Next slide. This is pool submission, just part of when the RSA token is validated and it goes through. All of that happens on one of the same screens, so you don't have to log out and go to another screen and come back in and do the process. So again, we were thinking about you when we were setting up this. We want to make sure things are, as I keep on saying, things are easy. Your life, make it a little bit easier for you to do the process. So we thought of you in mind, of course. And of course, I know when you go through this, you might have some other things that, oh, Ginnie Mae could have done this, Ginnie Mae could have done this. And that's when those ideas will help us to improve the system once you become an expert and start going through it and say, we could do a little bit better on this, but that will come with time anyway. Next slide. And again, this goes back to the Skittles because you know what? Those Skittles are kind of helpful. The reason why I'm saying that I still do manage the help desk for a long time. And I remember users used to call and say, I submitted my pool, my custodian certified the pool. Can you tell me if my pool was issued or what's the status of my pool? Guess what, everybody? Now in HMBS, you can track that on your own because these Skittles are set up that way. We have Skittles of all pool, draft, initially submitted, issued, certified by the custodian, so you can track the pool status there on your own. That wasn't there before. So I think that's a big plus for what we're trying to do, so make your life a little bit easier. Okay, I think I've done enough talking. Next slide, please. The reports. And again, we have the reports and they're printed. You can print the reports on every page. I think you're going to see something like that in Tawhid's presentation. So don't forget the reports as part of the process. Okay, at this point, I'm going to shut up. And we have 2 videos for the issuers to get you a give you more understanding on the HMBS process. So Tawhid, if you're ready, can you shoot the first video? Or
Thank you,
recording,
Ray.
I should say.
Yep, and good afternoon, everyone. I'll share my screen and we'll play the video shortly.
While we're waiting, are there any questions?
I do have a hand raised, Rob, from Vanna Smith. Vanna, you have been taken off mute and should be able to ask your question.
Thank you. So I wanted to find out, you had mentioned the import-export process of it. I have a few questions. Wasn't sure if you were going to address this later, but in terms of the export or the download of the data file that we do so we can do the bump on the custodian side for certification, will that data file remain the same as it is now, or will that in a different format?
Vanna, it should remain the same.
Yes.
We try not to touch anything to do with the import and the export. The outcome should look the same. So you should be able to do the same thing you were doing before.
Got it. And then the actual certification itself, will we have the option as doc custodians to import the pools that need to be initial certified or final certified? So that way it'll automatically pull the pools, or is it going to be a one-to-one click and choose like we do currently in Ginnie Mae?
No, you won't import because we don't want the custodian to import. So what you're going to have on your end is once all the pools that belong to you, you'll see them in status as posted. So you should be able to view them and do your due diligence. If you're good with this, you're certified. If you still see that something is wrong, you can do a reject, and you'll have bulk certification though. You don't have to do certification one by one. You can do, if there are 10 pools and 10 pools are good to go, you select them and then do the submission at once.
Right, I understand that part, but with this recertification portion in Ginnie Mae, we can
You're
import.
talking restarts. We're only right now, the phase 1 is just initial and final. Research comes in. I know what you're talking about, the import with if it's more than 1,000.
Right.
We're working on that, but that doesn't come in this phase, Vanna. It comes where we're doing this in phases. So we're just introducing the initial and the final in this phase, but phase 2 is coming, and that we're going to address that in the recertification. Is this Deloitte? Is not Deloitte. Is this Deutsche Bank?
It is.
I figured so. I know you guys. We got it. We're working on that because we know that was a pain point for you guys. So that's on our agenda to tackle in phase two.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Toyin, where are we?
Hey, Wade, I still don't have that option to share audio for some reason. Is anyone able to assist?
You're able to send me the video that you'd like to pull up. I can share my screen and play it.
So I know the file size was an issue. I see Ashley's on the call. Ashley, would you be able to, I sent the file internally over to you.
Hey, let me try to share first. Just give me 1 second. And just let me know if you guys can hear the audio.
Bailey, can you make sure Ashley's a host?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
The option. Thanks.
And if you leave your microphone unmuted while it's playing, that might help as well.
Oh, I see what the issue is. It's because where it says to share sound, it's grayed out. That's probably what Tawhid was seeing.
Yep, I have the same issue.
It may be something you have to allow on your side, Belly.
Okay, let me know if you can see it now.
Okay, yeah, because I think you need the host tools. Wait 1 second. Let's try. No, the share sound is still grayed out. Let me see. I think someone just raised their hand.
Hi, this is part of your webinar settings. If you have multiple participants allowed to share simultaneously, you can't share sound through Zoom. You'll have to change it so that it only allows you to share one participant at a time for their screen shares. Then it should work.
Thanks for that. I just changed it to host only. Let me see. Yep, that worked. So Tahid, I'll go ahead and continue to share. Just let me know if you all can see it. Can you guys see? Or is it not sharing?
Yep, I can see.
All right, thanks.
Today's demonstration will go over the new HMBS application for issuer, and we'll go over the HMBS pools and loans page along with how to create a new pool. First, after logging in, we'll click on the HMBS pools and loans tab. And this will take us to the pools and loans tab summary page. Once the page loads, I just want to note while it's loading, this is a UAT environment, so things might be a little bit slower than production, so just please bear with me. Now that we have landed on the HMBS Pools and Loan page, we see that the top part of the page has a colorful circles which we call skittles. Starting off with all pools, draft, submitted for initial certification, initially certified, issued, final certification draft, submitted for final certification, pending for final certification, and final certified, along with transferred skittle. The number on top of these skittles represents the count of pool that falls in these categories. Next, we have the filter section. Here you're able to filter based on different criteria such as the pool number, issue date, pool type, statuses, the custodian number, and the HUD form. This can be utilized and mixed and matched based on your need. Just want to note that if you enter a pool number, any other filters applied will not work. We'll continue to go down. Here we have a grid. This gives us a list of all the pools based on our filter criteria, starting off with the pool number, pool type, the custodian number and name, issue date, status of the pool, the OAA, the FTN number, business rule indicator, along with the action button. The action button will vary depending on the status of the pool. So for example, if we have a draft pool, you can delete it, you can validate it, you can submit, or generate documents such as the 11705, the 11706, the 11711B, the edit reports in PDF or CSV format, or you can export the pool itself. We'll scroll up to the top. Also want to note we have pagination, so if you have a large number of pool, you can view them in 20, 40, 60, 80, or 100 increments along with pagination, so you can navigate to next or to the last. We'll go back up to the top. Here we'll create a pool today. For today's demo, we'll click on Add a Pool. We'll have a pop-up. You have two options here. You can enter the pool manually, or you can import with a text file by clicking on Choose from Folder. Again, for today's demonstration, we will import a pool. So we'll select our file, click OK, and then check the Validate box. This will run Ginnie Mae business rules as the pool is imported. Next, we'll click on Upload. And we'll get a couple of notifications here, starting off with the toast message, which states that the upload is in progress, and you will be notified once it's complete. And we sort of saw that on the portal notification. There are two notifications that we receive. One, if the file was imported successfully, and the second, because we checked the Ginnie Mae business rule edit on the import, it gives us a notification if it passed or failed. In our case, we do see the message that the pool has failed the validation, and we can download a report that gives us more detail to why it failed. And we can quickly click on that download link and view the PDF file. And in our case today, we see that the Ginnie Mae edits did not pass, and it did not pass because of the tax ID. And we'll go into that in more detail on how to correct this when we go into the detail page. Next, we know that the pool imported successfully, so we'll go ahead and click on that pool number. And now we'll go into the pool detail page. Here you have the blue banner on top, which gives us some high-level information of the pool, such as the pool type, the issue date, settlement date, the original aggregate amount, status of the pool, the business rule status, as well as who the last person updated this pool. Next to that, we have some options, which I'll go into in a little bit, and we'll continue to go down. And we see that the system's very intuitive, where it gives you the error messages that the pool has right on the user interface. So the report that we looked at also is represented here by the error message where the pool tax ID is not unique. We'll continue to go down to look at the details of this page, and then we'll go ahead and correct the issue with the tax ID. We can see that the page is broken up into different sections that we can collapse or expand. So you can focus on individual sections when working on the pool, or just view the entire page. And we'll quickly scroll through the page for the different sections and all the details, such as the header information. Then we have the general information, the pool statistics, the subscribers, and the certification and agreement, the 11711B. So now, to fix this issue, we can go to Edit. Once we click on Edit, we can see the fields open up, and we know that the issue is with the tax ID, so we'll correct it by making it unique, and then save the pool. And we can see that the pool is saved successfully. Next, we'll go and navigate over to the loan sections to look at the details, and then we'll go to running the Ginnie Mae edits on this pool again, since we did make adjustments and fixes, but we'll get into that in a little bit. So now we're on the loans detail page. Similar to the pools and loans summary page that we looked at, you can filter based on the issuer loan number or the FHA case number. And below that, we have a grid that gives us a high-level information of the loans that contains within this pool, such as the loan number, the FHA case number, and also the interest rate. Similar to the pools and loans summary page, we also have pagination, so you can view 20, 40, 60, 80, and up to 100 loan per page, and then navigating through the different pages if needed. Next, we'll click on a loan number just to go into the detail and look at all the fields. And very similar to the pool's detail page, it's broken up into different sections, which could be collapsed and expanded. Starting off with the header information, the general information, the ARM info, the borrower's information, let's continue to go down after we have the property information. So this is all the details on the loan detail page. Now we'll take a look at a couple of the options, and these are the same options that we saw on the pool detail page. So on the top, we have docs drop-down. Here you can also generate some of the HUD forms, such as the 11705, 11706, 11711B, along with the edit reports in the different formats, or export the pool. Next to that, we have the help page and a dedicated refresh button. Below that, we have the option to validate the pool, submit, or delete, since it is in draft status. So because we made some adjustments and updates to the pool to correct issues that we saw, we'll click on validate. So this will run this pool again through the Ginnie Mae validation system, and we'll get some notification, starting off with that the pool has been sent for validation, and also the portal notification. So let's click on that. And here you do get that successful message saying that the business rule validation was successful and the pool has passed the validation. I also want everyone to note the business rule has updated now to passed. Next, submitting this pool for initial certification. So we can submit the pool from this page along with the pool detail page, or we can go back to the pools and loans summary page. And if you remember, under the action column, we can select the pool and we can submit. So if you check the box for the pool, you'll get a list of buttons that'll appear where you can, again, delete, validate, submit. You can also do a bulk submission. So we have selected more than one pool, and you can see that the submit button is available. So today we'll just pick the pool that we validated and click on submit. Once you do, you'll get a pop-up message where you have the information of the pool that you selected to submit and the fields to enter your RSA token. So let's go ahead and put our token. So we're just waiting for the token to refresh. Now we'll go ahead and enter and then click submit. If the token is accepted, we'll get a couple of notifications again, starting off with that we received your request to submit the pool to the document custodian, and we'll notify you via the message portal notification with the outcome. So quickly, we did see a pop-up that appeared, and if we click on that message, we can see that this pool submitted to the document custodian for initial certification, and it was successfully submitted. So let's close that pop-up, and then let's refresh the page to go and take a look at the status of that pool. So if we recall, initially it was in draft, but now that the pool has been submitted successfully, the status has updated to submitted for initial certification. Thank you everyone for watching. This concludes the view of the pools and loans, along with how to import and submit a pool for initial certification. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ashley, before we throw Joe, I want to thank you very much for jumping in and helping us. Good teamwork. Ashley, before we go on to the second video, can we find out from if there are any questions that we need to address before we move on? Bailey, do you see anything out there you want to ask?
There are 3 questions in the chat. The first one is from Joe Hansler. He said, "We love Wade. Quick question. We often have to edit pool details after we upload, but before submitting for certification, I didn't see the pool details screen where that would typically be used."
Because you know what, Joe, you're not seeing an edit button anymore there. Once you bring in the pool details screen, you can actually go into that field and make the changes, and then the data will save. So you don't have the actual edit button that a user is going there and click on edit. And Toyd, if I'm saying the wrong thing, you can always back me up. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're right, Wade. We do have the ability to edit. It's in line, so you could just go in the fields and just make the changes that you need.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Our next question is from an anonymous attendee. Please clarify cutoff date and deployment. We pool early in the month, pooling on Monday, May 4th. Data to DC, May 4th to 5th, certify on the 6th, and settle on the 7th. Will this timeline be an issue with deployment?
Does Ginnie Mae want to take that one?
No, we're presently working around the cutoff dates as well as the dates for certification. So it should not affect that. We're looking at a date. That's why we've got it set for mid to late second quarter, just to make sure that there isn't any issues with the delivery.
Super. Thank you, Rob.
Wait, just to correct a little bit of what we said on the last question, I do want to confirm there is a edit button. So after an import, once the pool's uploaded and you go into the pool detail, you will see a dedicated edit button. Once clicked, all the fields will open up. On the the demonstration itself, we did see there was an issue with the tax ID, where we clicked on edit and then navigated down to that field and made the adjustment to save and validate again. So just wanted to quickly correct that.
Thank you, Toby. And again, what does Wade Gale know anyway? Thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. Bailey, is there another question?
That is all the questions that we have, so we can get into the next demo.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Ashley, we're good to go for that first demo for the issue.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Today's demonstration will go over how to do a final certification for a HMBS pool. Once you log in as an issuer, you'll land on my dashboard and then navigate to HMBS Pools and Loans tab. We'll then be taken to the Pools and Loans summary page. Here, we'll select pools that has been issued that are eligible for final certification by first searching for the pool. So we'll pick some issued pools. We can also utilize the Skittle by clicking on it and applying the filter. So here we have a list of pools that are ready to be final certified. We first have to start by selecting the pool, and we can see that the Initiate Final Certification button is available that we can click. Another way we can initiate final certification is by clicking on the pool number itself and going into the pool detail. So let's go ahead and do that. Once clicked, it'll take us to the pool detail, and again we see the Initiate Final Certification button. So let's go ahead and click on this. Just want to note, to initiate, you will need a RSA token, so you will have to be the authorized signer. Once we click on Initiate Final Certification, we have the pop-up with the RSA passcode field, so we'll go ahead and enter our token. Right, we're just waiting to recycle through the token so we can enter the valid number. Once we enter the token, we'll click on Initiate Final Certification. The token was correct. We will get a toast message saying that it was successfully placed in Final Certification Draft. We also get a portal notification stating the same. I also want to note the status of this pool. It was issued prior to initiating for final certification. Once initiated, we can see the status has now changed to Final Certification Draft. We'll scroll down a little bit. We see there is a static message now for the custodian of record information. So for the custodian for final certification will be automatically selected. If there are any pending document custodian transfer, or if you need to change the custodian, please wait for the document custodian transfer to be completed, then come back to the pool and submit for final certification, as the custodian is now automatically updated. We will continue to go down real quickly just to view the pool detail page. Next, we'll navigate to the loan page. Here, again, you have a list of all your loans, which you can apply filters to, but we'll click on a loan number just to go into the loan detail. Here, you have the loan detail page where you can make edit by clicking on edit edit, and if you need to make any changes, you could see the fields open up. So we'll quickly scroll down through the different fields and scroll down to the bottom. As you can see, all the fields are available to make adjustments. Once you make your adjustment, you can go up and we can save, reset, or click done. Reset will just undo any changes you have made. Once we're satisfied with the details that we have for final certification, we have the option to validate as well as submit. Since we haven't made any changes, we'll go ahead and click submit. And again, a token is needed to submit this pool for final certification. So we'll enter our RSA token on the pop-up. Once we entered our token, we'll click submit. If successful, again, we'll receive a portal notification along with a successful toast message that we have received your request. And the portal notification will state that the pool was successfully submitted to the document custodian for final certification. Again, we'll go back to the status of the pool, and we can see the status has now changed to submitted for final certification. Thank you for watching.
And Toey, thank you for recording. Thank you everybody for that. That's how we want to introduce what is happening in that new space with HMBS for the issuer. Of course, there's a lot you issuers will have to do in terms of making sure your import file work and follow the same format that we currently have. But there's a couple of things we mentioned business rules. Business rules was never mentioned in legacy system. We know it as Ginnie Mae edit. So that's a little thing you have to try and pick up on your own. And of course, we saw a lot of Skittles. We never had Skittles in GennyNet. So those are things you have to get accustomed to for the good, because and of course, you notice now we're certifying and pools on each screen. We don't have to go to a communication area. So those are some of the new things that we introduced. So you will make it a little bit easier for you to process. Any questions? If not, we go on to the next slide.
Hey, wait, before you go on, I just wanted to go back to the cutoff date and give an example.
Okay.
So, for example, if we say the cutoff date is May 6th, which is a Wednesday, then all pools must be submitted and certified on May 5th by 9 p.m. If it's not certified by 9 p.m., then the issuer would lose the file from their system and they would need to recreate it when HMBS moves to MGM. And that's initial certification. For final certification, the same applies. If the issuer submits the pool, it must be final certified prior to the 6th, which would have been the announced cutoff date. That's just an example. The pool has to be final certified the day prior to by 9 p.m. I hope that answers the question.
Cool. Thank you very much, Vicky. Thank you for that.
Wade, we did receive a question from Jen Curtis. She asked, when final certifying a pool, does this system allow you to do multiple at a time, or is it one only?
Very good question, Jen. Yes, it does. Once you go through your pools, you can actually select the pools that you want to do final certification, and when you get ready to submit, you can submit them in bulk. Yes. Any other question?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. Custodians, thank you for hanging out with the issuers. At least what it does, it gives you an understanding of what the issuer will do in their shops to pass on the information to you. So we're going to actually try and go into the custodian stuff now. We have a short video for you too, so you could get an understanding of what the process will be. This is going to be new to you. You're going to be, if you're doing HMBS pools for certification, it has to be done in the new module now on MGM. Your pools for your single family, your multifamily will still be done in GenNet until we move that piece into our second phase, which we are currently going through testing on. Next slide, please. And again, just some reminder that we put out there in the first place. GenNet will no longer be used for final or initial certification for HMBS pools. In addition, custodians supporting HMBS pools will begin using the new pool and loan certification functionality in My Ginnie Mae portal for complete HMBS pool certification. We mentioned that in the first slide when we started, but now we want to also mention that to the custodian. For the certification of all other pool types, custodians should continue using GenNet until further notice. So the new system that we're introducing to you is only for HMBS. So if you process all the other pool types or certify them, you're only going to use this new system for your HMBS pool. Please note that the cutoff dates for GenNet HMBS system is Wednesday prior to the deployment. At this time, HMBS and GenNet will transition to read-only mode. HMBS issuers and custodian will be unable to create or certify pool until processing resume in MGM. So that the last statement there, Ginnie Mae is still working on, and they'll share what the final outcome on that last statement is. But the bottom line is, when this system goes into play, HMBS processing for custodian will be done on MGM. So you will have that either on your dashboard or on the tools, and then you'll go there and process only HMBS pool. All your other pools will be available in GenNet until Ginnie Mae goes through the second phase of this and get to the transition of all the other pools into the MGM space. Next slide, please. And again, we went through some of the same things with what the dashboard would look like as the custodians. So that's what we're presenting here. Next slide. And again, we present the pool and loan certification page. Of course, you're going to have initial pools and you're going to have final certs. And so we're just kind of giving you what the screenshot is going to look like, or what screens are going to look like in your environment. Next slide. Certified pool for initial certification. We did see that a little bit in the issuer space. It's a little bit different because you're now doing a certification, and at this point you can also do a rejection because you might have gone through the documentation and something is not right in terms of what you're reviewing, and you have the option to do a decline or rejection on that pool back to the custodian. But the good thing about it now, custodians, you are actually doing your submission from the same screen that you're looking at the pool information from. You're not logging out and going back to the main menu and select communication. That's no longer there. So it's a little bit easier for you to actually do the processing, trying to keep most of the process in one screen so you don't have to be going in and out. Next slide. So it's just going to go through the process, what happens with the certification, and also allows you to print your documentation. I know that's a big piece on the custodian side. You want to print when you actually do the certification. That's when you have this FCN for your records. Maybe you don't print now, maybe you create PDF. We have that ability too. So we just want to give you the option to print those reports also. Next slide. Or show it on that screen. Pool detail. That's the pool detail screen, which most of the custodians don't go into pool detail because there's nothing on pool detail for you during the final certification to go in, or even doing initial certification to go in and edit or review. If you can view the information, but there's nothing there that will, most of your information is on the loan detail. Next slide, please. All loans that we had shown you, basically, all it looks like in the issuer side, we kind of kept the same feeling. Next slide. And after we open up the loan, this is what it looks like on your side. And just remember, HMBS, they do have a lot of loans. And we set it up so we can collapse the pages and you can view what you want to view at that time instead of everything just out there to you. So you want to take that in mind when you become an expert and you maneuver the system and work it the way it feels best for you, because everybody's got have their own angle when they're actually doing the process on this. Next slide. Hot forms, of course, you have the ability to print those 11705, 11706, 117011B, and just since we're on that 117011B, you remember the way the system is. If the issuer selects the first statement on the 11711B on their side, the issuer is supposed to submit or create a 1177A and send over to you, the custodian. Right now, that form is still a manual form, so you'll have to set up whatever needs to fill out that form and send it over to the custodian. If you select the first statement on the issuer side, if the second statement is selected, no 117011A needs to be sent over to the custodian. So just want to put that out since we're doing that. And that 11.7 is it's a part of the process. It just doesn't have its own section anymore. We kind of put it in the pool details screen just to make it easier for the users. Next slide. More on the reports, how to generate a report. Much easier. You don't have to go on the GenNet and go to an area that says report. That's not there anymore. So we kind of change that up to make your life a little bit easier. And I hope what we did, of course, we'll get your feedback as you start using the system, what you like, what you don't like, so we can make the appropriate changes. But I hope this feels different, feels modern, and it feels like Ginnie Mae is listening and want to improve the process. Next slide. Server and pools for final certification. Of course, you're going to see those pools on your screen. I think they're going to be as submitted, ready for final certification. You go through the same thing. You do your validation. You'll do if you need to check the information, make sure everything is okay. And then you also, at this point, have the ability to certify the pool or reject the pool. Next slide. And this is just going through the certification piece on screen. We wanted to, if you need this documentation, at least you have some reference to use when you're actually going through the process. Next slide. Pool detail, that's for final certification. At this point, you can't do anything on pool detail for final certs because most of you're concentrated mostly on the loans in the pool. So next slide. All loans, just to basically how you bring up the all loans and pools, and then you can select one of the loan. Let's go to the next slide that actually populate that information. And this is just some more screenshots giving you how to do the process. Next slide. Okay. Can we? Is there anybody have a questions or concerns on the line?
No questions at this time.
Okay. Ashley, do you have that custodian video lineup?
Yeah.
Okay, for custodians, my friends, custodians, we're gonna have your video played right now. So to give you an understanding what happens in that space. So let's sit back, listen, and learn something. Thank you.
On today's demonstration, we'll go over the Custodian certification for HMBS pools. We'll go over how to initially certify and final certify HMBS pools, along with the dashboard. I also want to note any pools that the custodian needs to certify for single and multifamily will be done still in Ginnie Mae. For any new pools for HMBS will be certified through the new system that we will go over today. Starting off with the dashboard, the custodian has a list of widgets, starting off with the Skittles that represents for the different program type, like the single family, multifamily. We also have HMBS, which has the initial and the final certification sections, the Skittle representing the different statuses of the pool, and the count to show how many are in those statuses, such as pending certification, certified, and declined. We also have a little box below that gives us the latest information on those statuses. Next, we'll navigate to the Pools and Loan Certification tab. As the page loads, I do want to note this is UAT environment, so things might be a little bit slower than it would be in production. Just please keep that in mind. So now that the page has loaded for the Pools and Loan Certification, the custodian lands on the Initial tab. Similar to the dashboard, we have three Skittles representing the three different statuses, like posted, certified, and declined, with a count representing how many pools are in those status. Below that, as we continue down, we have a filter section, so you can filter based on issue type, the issuer number, their name, the pool number, the pool type, the loan number, issue date, statuses, or the HUD form. You can mix and match the filters based on your need and apply the filter, which will result in a grid and a list of those pools based on the filter that you apply. So on the grid, we see we have the pool number with the link, the issue type, the pool type, the issuer number and name, issue date, the edit status of that pool, the original aggregate amount, the settlement date, and actions. The action button can represent different options based on the status of the pool. So if it's a posted pool, you can certify, decline, or generate documents such as the 11705, 11706, and 11711B, or export the pool itself. Next, we'll go into one of the pools that we're going to certify today by clicking on the pool link, and this takes us to the pool detail page. Here you'll review all the details of this pool. So we'll scroll down. It is divided into different sections that you can collapse or expand. And we'll slowly scroll down so we can take a look at all the different data fields. Next, once we have completed our review of the pool's details page, we can click on the loan tab. It is, there is a count, the number in the parentheses representing how many loans this pool has. So in our case today, we have 3. Once we click on the loans tab, we have a small section where we can filter. And we can also click, so let's go back to the loan detail page. Here, like I was mentioning, we have the issuer loan number and the FHA case number that we can apply filters. We also have the list of those loans that are in this pool. By seeing we have the loan number, the case number, and the interest rate. So we'll click on one of the loans so we can review the detail. And here again, similar to the pool's detail page, we have different sections that we can collapse or expand and review the data fields. So we'll quickly scroll down and review the data. All right, let's scroll back up to the top. Just also want to note we have a blue banner on the top, which gives us a high-level information of this pool, such as the pool type, the issue date, the settlement date, the OAA, the status, business rules, and last updated by. In addition, we can generate documents here, such as the 11705, 11706, 11711B, along with exporting the pool. And again, we also have the option to decline or certify this pool. So we'll go back to the summary page. I do want to also show if you have more than one pool that you want to bulk certify or bulk decline, you can do so by selecting it and then either clicking on certify or decline. So for today's demonstration, we'll pick the pool that we're going to submit for initial to certify. We'll click on that certify button and we have the pop-up that appears where you enter your RSA token. So let's go ahead and enter our token. Once we enter our 8-digit token, we'll click on certify. Successful, you'll get a successful toast message saying that the pools were certified successfully. Let's go back down to the pool so we can take a look at the status. And just want to note, as you can see, the status has now updated to certified. Next, we'll navigate over to the final certification tab. So for final certification on the pool, we'll click on the final tab, and similar to the initial, we have the same skittle count, the same filter options, same grid that has the list of all the pools that either has been final certified or posted and ready to be final certified. We'll go ahead and select a pool that we have ready today. Same process, you will select the pool and you'll get the option to either certify or decline. And if needed, you can also do the same for bulk certify or bulk decline. In addition, you have the ability to generate the document, a little bit different for the final certification where we have the additional 11706 final certification report. So next, let's go ahead and certify this pool. Click on certify, we'll get a pop-up and we'll enter our 8-digit RSA token. All right, we're entering the token. Once completed, we'll click on certify. If successful, again, we'll get a toast message saying pools were certified successfully. Again, just want to go back to the pool just so we can take a look at the status and how it has now changed. So you can see the status has now changed to certified. Thank you for watching. This concludes the custodian view of the new pools and loan certification application.
Okay, thank you, Toeed. Thank you, Ashley, for assisting again. Thank you, Joe, for pointing that out to us that one person needs to be in that space when we're sharing videos. And Custodian, that's your Custodian overview in a nutshell. Any questions, any concerns?
Before we get to the questions, we invite you to participate in a short survey. Ginnie Mae uses your feedback to improve our content and delivery, and you are welcome to leave any thoughts you may have for our consideration. We really do appreciate your participation.
We do have a question from Vanna Smith. Her question is, there has been times when we're asked to reject a pool after a pool is initially certified, would we have the option to do this, or will this still be an issuer function?
It will still be an issuer function. Only the issuer can delete the pool after it's certified.
Thank you. And if there are any other questions, feel free to raise your hand and we can take you off of mute or drop them in the chat.
Bailey, do we have any additional questions?
Not at this time, no.
Okay, we only have a few minutes left. If you do have further questions, please contact the customer service desk at askginniemay@hud.gov. As a reminder, we ask that you please submit your survey responses so that we can take your feedback into account for further future training events. We would like to thank you for your time. Thank you all for staying. Have a great day.